What if the very parts of ourselves we despise, ignore, or lock away are not just burdens, but profound keys? Keys to understanding not only our own inner turmoil, but the collective darkness that can engulf societies. This isn't just a fascinating psychological concept. It's a profound challenge to how we perceive ourselves and the world around us. Welcome to Stoic Pyre. Today, we're diving deep into the revolutionary insights of Carl Jung, particularly his transformative concept of the shadow. We'll explore how these unacknowledged aspects of our psyche, both personal and collective, subtly shape our destiny, often in ways we can barely comprehend. Prepare to confront the darkness, not to be consumed by it, but to find the latent light and power within. Jung posited that alongside our conscious ego, there exists an unconscious realm, a vast, often bewildering, unknown territory within each of us. Within this subterranean landscape, a crucial and powerful archetype emerges, the shadow. It's not inherently evil, nor is it a demonic force. Rather, as Jung himself put it with striking simplicity, it is the thing a person has no wish to be. Think of it as a meticulously curated personal repository for all the qualities, impulses, desires, and traits we deem unacceptable, inferior, inconvenient, or simply too frightening for our conscious self-image to bear. These are the parts of us we actively deny, repress, disown, or perhaps most commonly, project onto others, blaming them for our own unacknowledged failings. Perhaps it's a suppressed anger that bubbles up as passive aggression, a latent jealousy that manifests as unfounded suspicion, or even an unacknowledged laziness that translates into procrastination despite conscious intent. It could also be qualities we perceive as weaknesses like vulnerability or dependency, or even certain strengths like a desire for power or sensuality that clash with our cultivated moral identity. For instance, if you pride yourself on being unfailingly rational and calm, your shadow might hold intense volcanic emotions or impulsive, spontaneous desires that threaten your self-perception. If you strive to be consistently kind and compassionate, your shadow might contain surprising veins of cruelty, selfishness, or sharp critical judgment. It's everything that doesn't fit neatly into the carefully constructed persona we present to the world, the ideal self we aspire to embody. The shadow acts like a psychological attic or a hidden dungeon where we toss everything we don't want to deal with, hoping it will simply vanish. However, the more vigorously we push these aspects away, the more potent, disruptive, and problematic they become, silently influencing our thoughts, feelings, and behaviors from the hidden depths of our unconscious, often leading to a profound sense of internal discord and inauthenticity. But what becomes of these banished parts of ourselves? Jung warned us unequivocally and with a stark honesty that everyone carries a shadow, and the less it is embodied in the individual's conscious life, the blacker and denser it is. When we choose to ignore our shadow, to consciously or unconsciously disavow its existence, it doesn't simply disappear into oblivion or quietly fade away. Instead, it festers, growing more insidious, more cunning, and undeniably more disruptive to our overall well-being. Imagine a forgotten, slow-growing leak in the deepest part of a basement. Left unaddressed, it silently erodes the very foundation of a house, causing far greater and more costly damage down the line than if it had been dealt with early. Our repressed shadow operates similarly, constantly undermining our most well-intentioned conscious efforts, our carefully laid plans, and our sincerest desires. Jung further elaborated on this danger, stating, "If an inferiority is conscious, one always has a chance to correct it. But if it is repressed and isolated from consciousness, it never gets corrected and is liable to burst forth suddenly in a moment of unawareness. At all counts, it forms an unconscious snag, thwarting our most well-meant intentions." This profound insight explains why we sometimes find ourselves acting completely out of character, exhibiting behaviors that shock even us, why we might explode in disproportionate anger over seemingly minor provocations, feeling an uncontrollable rage that seems to come from nowhere, or why we inexplicably sabotage our own success, undermine our relationships, or consistently repeat self-defeating patterns despite our best conscious efforts to change. The unacknowledged shadow doesn't just lurk passively in the background of our psyche. It actively intervenes and asserts itself, making us unwitting prisoners of our own denied darkness. It dictates our reactions, distorts our perceptions, and can even subtly steer our life paths without our conscious consent. It manifests as unconscious self-sabotage, as the projection of our own disowned faults onto others, seeing our own badness everywhere but in ourselves, or as a persistent nagging sense of unease, a pervasive feeling that something is fundamentally off within ourselves, perpetually out of balance and harmony, driving us to restless dissatisfaction and inner turmoil. So, if ignoring it only makes it stronger, more insidious, and more destructive, what then? Is our shadow merely a source of problems, or does it hold something more profound, something potentially valuable? Counterintuitively, and this is a crucial point, the shadow isn't just a grim container for our worst impulses, our shame, or our perceived failings. Jung, with his profound understanding of psychological paradoxes, recognized its significant and often overlooked dual nature, unequivocally stating that it displays a number of good qualities, such as normal instincts, appropriate reactions, realistic insights, creative impulses, etc. Think about this for a moment. The very qualities we deem bad, unacceptable, or dark might, in a different context, under conscious guidance, be transformed into profound strengths or untapped resources. A repressed anger, for instance, might actually be a powerful, righteous indignation waiting to fuel necessary boundary setting, advocate for justice, or drive meaningful social change. A suppressed desire for power could be a healthy, vital ambition to lead, to create, to innovate, or to effectively influence the world around you. Often, the very creative impulses we deny because they don't fit our conventional self-image or our perceived social roles are locked away in the shadow, stifling our potential for true originality. When we push away our dark side, when we attempt to live only in the light, we frequently lose touch with our primal energy, our spontaneous vitality, our intuitive wisdom, and our deepest passions. We become less colorful, less dynamic, and, ironically, less genuinely good, because we lack the robustness that comes from a fully integrated self. Integrating the shadow means reclaiming these lost parts, not to unleash them destructively or without conscience, but to consciously channel their raw, potent energy constructively. It's about bringing what was once unconscious into conscious awareness, transforming potential psychological poison into profound medicine, thereby enriching our entire personality and making us more authentic, more resilient, and ultimately, more complete human beings. Through this courageous process, we might discover a wellspring of untapped resilience, a vibrant passion for life, a fearless assertiveness, or even unique talents and insights we never knew we possessed, unlocking a fuller, more vital version of ourselves. This difficult but profoundly essential endeavor, this conscious engagement with our inner darkness, is precisely what we refer to as shadow work. It is the active, often arduous process of identifying, confronting, integrating, and ultimately assimilating the previously repressed or denied contents of our shadow into our conscious personality. Fundamentally, it means bringing what is hidden in darkness into the illuminating light of consciousness. Jung himself acknowledged the immense difficulty, yet simultaneously emphasized the undeniable necessity of this transformative process. He famously stated, with a beautiful paradox, "There is no light without shadow, and no psychic wholeness without imperfection." This powerful statement reminds us that the goal of shadow work isn't about becoming perfect in a conventional sense, but about becoming profoundly whole. To achieve this authentic psychological wholeness, we must courageously embrace our imperfections, our flaws, and even our inherent capacity for darkness, alongside our cherished strengths and virtues. Denying our shadow fragments us, leading to debilitating internal conflict, profound inauthenticity, and the destructive projection of our disowned traits onto others. Shadow work, conversely, dramatically reduces this destructive potential by allowing us to consciously choose how we act and react rather than being dictated by invisible, unconscious forces that pull our strings. It's a commitment to radical self-honesty, a brave willingness to look unflinchingly at the parts of ourselves that make us deeply uncomfortable, even ashamed, without immediately turning away. But in doing so, we retrieve immense psychic energy and authentic personal power that were previously locked away. This transforms unconscious self-sabotage into conscious choice and debilitating fragmentation into a profound, unifying integration. It's a courageous journey toward greater authenticity, enhanced resilience, and a deep, abiding inner peace, acknowledging and accepting the full, complex spectrum of our human experience, leading to a richer and more balanced life. Shadow work, then, is far more than just psychological housekeeping. It is a critical, indeed indispensable component of a much larger, truly lifelong developmental journey, Jung termed individuation. This is the profound process through which we become our unique, authentic, and complete selves, a challenging yet deeply rewarding odyssey towards psychic wholeness. Individuation is about balancing and consciously integrating all the disparate conscious and unconscious realms of our being, aligning our ego, our conscious identity and sense of I, with the self. The self, in Jungian terms, is the totality of our personality, the organizing center of the psyche, encompassing both our light and our darkness, our immense potential and our undeniable limitations. It is, in essence, our true inner compass, our innate blueprint for wholeness. As Jung profoundly implied, and we've heard before, there is no light without shadow and no psychic wholeness without imperfection. You simply cannot achieve this profound alignment, this state of inner balance and self-realization, if significant, vital parts of you remain unacknowledged, hidden away in the impenetrable shadow. Individuation is not about striving for an idealized, socially conforming image of perfection, nor is it about blindly following external expectations. Instead, it is about becoming fully and authentically who you truly are, with all your beautiful complexities, inherent contradictions, and unique potential actualized. It's a heroic journey of self-discovery, necessitating the confrontation of cherished illusions, the dissolving of false personas, and the courageous integration of disowned parts to realize and embody your true nature. It involves bringing all the disparate elements of your being into harmonious, conscious relation. This leads to a profound inner liberation. It is the challenging yet ultimately liberating path to becoming a psychologically mature, resilient, and complete individual, one capable of navigating life's inevitable challenges with profound self-awareness, moral clarity, and an authentic sense of purpose, contributing not just from the surface, but from the depths of a fully realized being. Our personal shadows are daunting enough to confront. But what happens when this darkness isn't just within us, but looms over entire societies, manifesting as collective evil? Jung didn't stop at the personal shadow. His profound insights extended this concept to the collective, positing a powerful and often terrifying collective shadow. This manifests as societal evil, as the vast reservoir of disowned and repressed aspects of an entire culture, nation, or group. Think of the darkest chapters of human history, historical atrocities, genocides, systemic injustices, or the widespread dehumanization of specific groups. These aren't just isolated acts by evil individuals. They are, in Jung's view, often the horrific eruption of a collective shadow, where a society collectively projects its fears, its hatreds, its denied aggression, and its unacknowledged brutality onto an other, be it a race, a religion, or a political faction. It's the horrifying outcome when a large group of people collectively refuse to acknowledge their own capacity for harm, leading to sophisticated rationalizations for unspeakable acts, fostering a dangerous groupthink that justifies cruelty. Examples include the scapegoating of minorities, the denial of historical guilt by nations, or the virulent tribalism that still plagues our world. The only truly effective way to confront this immense collective darkness, according to Jung, is for individuals to relentlessly pursue self-knowledge and wholeness. He issued a stark challenge to each of us to know relentlessly how much good he can do and what crimes he is capable of. This isn't about feeling personal guilt for historical events we didn't cause, but about understanding our own intricate psychological makeup, our individual inherent capacity for both immense good and profound harm. By doing so, we can recognize and resist the seductive, dangerous collective tides that lead to such horrors. It demands an honest, unflinching accounting of humanity's darker potentials, not as something external and alien, but as something inherent to the human condition, always lurking beneath the surface, waiting for an opportunity to manifest. Our individual shadow work, therefore, has profound and far-reaching collective ramifications, as an integrated individual is far less susceptible to collective psychosis and destructive mob mentality. Expanding on this potent idea of collective responsibility and the shadow's pervasive influence, the revered Buddhist monk Thich Nhat Hanh, a global beacon of peace and mindfulness, offered a piercing insight into the fundamental nature of conflict and war. He observed with chilling accuracy that the war is in us, but is also in everyone. Everything is ready to explode, and we are all co-responsible. This powerful statement profoundly challenges the simplistic, often comforting, view that war and conflict are solely external events, caused by distant political leaders, evil regimes, or abstract geopolitical forces. Instead, Nhat Hanh asks us to look deeply, to see war as originating internally, within the individual human heart, mind, and spirit, and pervasive throughout the intricate fabric of society. The seeds of conflict, be they fear, hatred, greed, ignorance, prejudice, or unexamined biases, reside, to varying degrees, in each of us. When these individual shadows are ignored, left unaddressed, projected onto others, and then amplified collectively through media, rhetoric, and groupthink, they create a volatile, explosive environment where everything is ready to explode. This implies that systemic injustice, widespread violence, and chronic conflict are not alien forces acting upon us, but are rather direct manifestations of a collective pathology we all contribute to, however indirectly or unconsciously, by failing to address our own inner conflicts and biases. It's a profound call to introspection, urging us to recognize our complicity, our shared humanity, and our inherent agency in both perpetuating and, crucially, transforming cycles of violence. It emphasizes that lasting peace, whether personal or global, begins not with bombs or treaties alone, but with the quiet, often difficult, courage to look within ourselves. Only then can we truly begin to disarm the internal triggers that relentlessly fuel external strife, fostering understanding and empathy where fear and division once reigned. If the roots of conflict are indeed within us and woven into the very fabric of society, how then can we truly prevent the devastating repetition of history's darkest chapters and foster genuine, lasting peace? So, if the deep-seated roots of conflict are within us and pervasive throughout society, how then can we truly hope to prevent the devastating repetition of history's darkest chapters? Thich Nhat Hanh, a true luminary and unwavering advocate for peace, provides a profoundly practical and spiritual path forward. Through the cultivation of mindfulness, he asserted, with a quiet yet powerful conviction, if we practice mindfulness, we will know how to look deeply into the nature of war and, with our insight, wake people up so that together we can avoid repeating the same horrors again and again. Mindfulness, in this transformative context, is far more than simply a meditation technique or a trend. It is a radical, profound awareness, a deep, sustained, non-judgmental observation of our inner states, our thoughts, emotions, and bodily sensations, and the intricate societal patterns around us. It's about seeing the subtle, often unconscious ways our own fears, prejudices, aversions, and desires contribute to a larger, destructive narrative of conflict. By cultivating this deep seeing, this penetrating insight, we develop an understanding into the precise mechanisms of collective delusion, aggression, and dehumanization. This insight isn't meant to be purely personal. It's inherently meant to be shared to wake people up to the interconnectedness of our lives and the shared responsibility we bear. It implies a collective awakening where enough individuals become acutely aware of the shadow's insidious influence, both personal and collective, that they can consciously resist the powerful, often seductive, pull toward scapegoating, tribalism, and ultimately, violence. This isn't passive reflection. It's an active, compassionate, and courageous engagement with reality, a powerful antidote to the unconscious forces that drive conflict and division. It empowers us to consciously choose empathy, understanding, and reconciliation over division, fear, and destruction, recognizing the shared humanity that underpins all apparent divisions. Through collective mindfulness, we can build a future where the lessons of the past truly inform and transform our present actions. The journey into the shadow, whether it's the personal darkness within or the collective shadows that loom over society, is unequivocally not for the faint of heart. It demands profound courage, a relentless pursuit of self-knowledge, and an unflinching honesty about our own inherent capacity for both immense good and profound harm. It is, ultimately, a compelling call to become fully conscious, to diligently integrate the fragmented parts of ourselves, and to consciously stand as beacons of awareness and integrity in a world too often swayed by unconscious forces, collective hysteria, and historical amnesia. This means actively examining our own deep-seated biases, scrutinizing our own projections, and acknowledging our own tendencies to demonize what we don't understand or fear in others. It means taking profound personal responsibility for our inner landscape, recognizing that the outer world often serves as a powerful mirror reflecting our unresolved inner states and collective unacknowledged aspects. Only by doing the hard, consistent work of assimilating our own shadow material, as Jung so eloquently suggested, can we truly understand our fundamental connection to the larger human story and consciously play our part in shaping a more conscious, empathetic, and integrated future for all. This isn't a passive philosophical pursuit. It's an active, ongoing, and demanding engagement with the very depths of our being, transforming ignorance into illuminating insight and fragmentation into profound, unifying wholeness. It is the challenging, yet ultimately liberating path to true psychological maturity, ethical living, and authentic self-mastery, allowing us to contribute positively and consciously to the collective human endeavor, rather than unconsciously adding to its pervasive darkness and recurring suffering. This is the essence of becoming a fully realized human. Carl Jung's concept of the personal and collective shadow offers a profound and challenging lens through which to understand ourselves and the world. By acknowledging and integrating our shadow, reclaiming its dormant energies, understanding its impulses, and seeing its potential for good, we embark on the essential journey of individuation, moving towards psychic wholeness. And by extending this insight to the collective, recognizing our co-responsibility for societal darkness, we gain the power to consciously choose a path away from repeating historical horrors. This path requires unwavering self-awareness and a courageous commitment to integrating all aspects of our humanity. Thank you for joining Stoic Pyre on this exploration of Jung's challenging yet ultimately transformative ideas. What unacknowledged parts of yourself will you begin to explore today? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And if this discussion resonated with you, please like, subscribe, and ring that notification bell for more deep dives into philosophy and psychology.